Devils have a season-high 40 shots on goal. They win in a shootout 4-3 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we're going to go downstairs to welcome in Cody Glass. Cody, Matt, and Chico, thanks very much for your time. You had a big smile on your face as Markey came out to celebrate after the Matthews save. I mean, what a win tonight here at Prudential Center. Your thoughts on what transpired?
Man, that was great. They had a push in the first period. Kind of had us on our heels, but we responded really well in the second and the third, and felt like, they took the lead there, but I feel like doubt never left. We were positive on the bench. We knew we were going to get one back, and Brownie had a huge one, and, Markey was solid all game. If you give him good looks, clear the front of the net, he's going to make the save.
Well, the other thing you guys are doing, you're really pushing the puck, pushing the high offense, and you're also playing good defense. Do you feel it like as a group that you guys at times were dominant offensively?
100%. I think you can just tell with, if we're getting the puck out of our zone quick, we're getting odd man rushes, we're, busting up the ice. So we had a ton of good looks. It could have, we could have scored a couple more, but, Stolarz had a good game. He stole a couple from us, but, at the end of the day, if we play fast, we have a quick enough team to beat people wide. Playing with Brader, he's good on the rush. He's very skilled. He can beat guys. So if you get these guys with speed, they're going to make a big difference.
This looks a lot like, in these last couple of games, what we saw earlier in the season. So it's not something that's where the Devils are playing outside their game. So why is it returned? Is there anything in particular that has transpired recently?
Man, if I could tell you, I would.
Right.
I think we all know it's in there. And, it sucks. Like, losing games, it sucks as a hockey player. It kind of dips into your personal life, too. You don't want to lose, and, especially for the fan base, you don't want to lose. So for us, I feel like we've just been, taking it one period at a time, resetting, and, we've been doing a good job of that. And, it sucks that we are where we're at, but you can only take it one game at a time.
Well, do you believe in miracles?
Hey, man, you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I've watched Ted Lasso, so I do.
Good.
A great show. You talked about the home crowd and wanting to give them something to cheer about. I think there's an old saying in sports: if you're going to be bad on the road, but win at home. What is that relationship like? I mean, these fans are, first off, pouring their heart and soul into it. They're also pouring their hard-earned money into it,
yep.
And you want to give them a good effort. So, what is that relationship like between a player and the home fans?
Yeah, I mean, like, the fans here have been great to me and my family. So, ever since I got traded here, I've been, super thankful. But yeah, like, it sucks. You don't want to get booed in your hometown and, all that stuff. So, it sucks. And, we feel that. We're emotional guys. Like, we want to play good. So, it sucks when you're not doing well. But, the past couple of games, we're trying to turn this boat around and just finish strong.
Cody, you could have, and I think you will have, your most productive career in terms of goals. Are you feeling something different? You first-round draft pick. You're always a good player, really good defensively. But are you feeling something coming together a little bit offensively too?
I think so. I think I've played with a lot of different guys, so always getting used to them. But, my game doesn't change whoever I'm with. I'm going to get to the net, and, usually my wingers are skilled guys, so if I can just play hard down low, be in front of the net, tip pucks, things will go well. And, I've always been a pass-first type of guy, and so for me to have more goals and assists is kind of weird. But we're getting good looks. I can't complain. And, at the end of the day, I'm not here worried about points. My role is completely different than some others. And if I could play strong, play against top lines, and let Jack and, Nico's line, take over games, that's what I'm here to do.
Well, you've got 14 goals on the season with many more games still to be played. Congratulations on the win. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and we'll see you on Saturday for the Rangers.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Cody.
Cody Glass joining us, and, he is as perplexed as we all are, right?
Exactly.
If he knew the answer, he'd have given it, of course, and Sheldon Keefe and other players too. But it is fun to see.
Well, it's just like makes your eyes pop out. When we were losing and couldn't score, your eyes were retreating in your head, thinking, "What is going on?" But now this is what we're used to, and I wish I should have asked them. I'm sure the players saw it. Luke Hughes, I have not seen him. And he's been injured, and I get all that, but I have not seen him skate and take the puck and he was almost unstoppable. Almost unstoppable. He didn't score. Like Maddie and I said, he had one great chance. If he got it up, he would have. But overall, he was terrific, as were all the Devils. And, you know, when you win as a team, and we saw it in the celebration, you got Cody Glass and you got Jack Hughes, and Jack's had some high moments recently. And then you got Markey just above and beyond excited. You know, you really believe that they're going to make a good run for it. I don't know if they can make it all the way and create that miracle we were talking about, get in the playoffs. But I'll tell you, they keep playing like this, they have a chance.
22 minutes and 11 seconds of ice time for Luke Hughes. 4 shots on goal. 3 missed the target. 1 was blocked. So an active night for the young defenseman. And, you know, there's energy, there's excitement now. And who knows where it will lead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an improbable thought to think. Well, it's not an improbable thought. It's a thought about an improbable outcome, which is, can they make their way into a playoff spot? And you're asking a lot, but, you know, Cody said he watched Ted Lasso. Do you believe in miracles? Why not? All that stuff could happen. You play for a reason. My point is, though, if they can play this way, I think what it will do is reinforce that what we've seen previously is a crazy aberration, that the speed is there, the talent is there. When it gets unlocked, if it can be unlocked consistently, it will mean, and they'll have to play it, not only the rest of this way, but again next year. But all hope is not lost. This is not an aging team that you think, oh, my goodness, we're in trouble. What you should think is that for some reason it just got bamboozled for a good part of this year, and good hope for next year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking for, hope for next year. You know, the other thing is what's really interesting. Last game for the Devils before the trading deadline. Now, you look at the group tonight, and you say, well, I don't know that we have to make, the Devils, that is, have to make any moves. You know, everybody right from the first line to the fourth line playing really well. Defense is doing their job. Goaltending been brilliant. You know, and I don't know if it changes the mindset of management. We'll never know that. But what does happen, Matty, Friday with the Devils is going to be interesting. Maybe nothing, maybe something. But here's the one thing. The core players will be back next year, and they are showing here down the stretch here, these last few games, that it's something to look forward to.
And they'll want to keep it going, of course, against their most intense rival, the New York Rangers, on Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock here at Prudential Center. Let's check out some highlights. We'll hear from more players and the head coach coming up a little later on as the Devils win in a shootout 4-3. Back to the first period we would go. Matias Michelli started the scoring for Toronto with a goal at 5:26. The assists to Dakota Joshua and Simone Benoit, but the Devils would not get out of that period without tying it up. Can you imagine? Here's a chance. Meyer scores! Can you imagine Timo Meyer alone in front? And what might happen? 5-hole goal. We're tied at 1. His 17th of the season, and it came off a turnover and a beautiful pass.
Beautiful pass from Hischier. And, you know, 4 shots for Timo Meyer. And, you know, that's his gift. So use it. Just rip that puck. And on that play, there wasn't more than a couple inches between the legs. Stolar, but he found it. He whipped it right through.
Yeah, Nico Hischier with an assist on the play along with Dawson Mercer at 7:55. And the game was tied at 1. But late in the period, Cody Glass, we could have asked him about that, a slash. Remember that?
Oh,
going back.
I guess it was a slash.
I mean,
come on.
Maybe a hook. He got his stick up, but it wasn't even an egregious hook. But it was called a penalty. It was called a slash. But as they like to say, your best penalty killer is your goalie. And, well, Jacob Markstrom only faced 2 shots, but they were pretty good ones. Here's Matthews' blast. Save, rebound, save by Markstrom. Oh, he stops Matthews and Tavares, and the Devils clear. Yeah, those guys know how to score some goals and have over their careers.
Yeah, you know, there are 2 saves, but what's really special is who they were against, and that was another turning point.
And so the game stayed tied after 1 at 1. Into the second period we would go. A penalty was called to Johnny Kovacevic in the lineup tonight because of the injury to Brett Pesce that was announced before the game. He suffered it yesterday. We'll know more in the coming days about whether or not it's short-term or a little longer-term. Hopefully he's back short-term, of course. And so the Devils were down a man with Kovacevic off for a delay of game penalty at 1:21. He gloved the puck in the corner and then skated away from a Maple Leaf player. That is a no-no. The Devils almost killed it off. I say almost, but just as it was about to expire, Willie Nylander scored his 21st of the season. Toronto had a 2-1 lead. But the Devils didn't let that deter them. Just a short time later, in fact, less than 3 minutes later, this game was once again tied. Devils break out. We're skating 5-on-5. Here's Jesper Bratt. Skates along the goal line. Behind the net. Moves to the far wall. Left wing side. Now they score. It's Gritsuk taking the pass. Wonderful play by Bratt. What a blast by Gritsuk. And we're tied at 2. Arseny Gritsuk moved up to the Jack Hughes line, and I think he likes the opportunity that has been given to him.
Well, you know what he likes? He likes getting that pass. This time it was from Bratt. But here's the thing. Timo Meier can rip the puck. He's got an extra special shot. And Gritsuk is in that class. And you want to see him shooting when it's there like it was tonight. And he just blasted that. Goalie had no chance.
His 11th goal of the season. He scored last night against Florida. So good time for Arseny Gritsuk to find the scoring touch once again. Bratt with the primary, Nico Hischier the secondary, and the game was tied at 2 at 6:06. Anthony Stolarz deserved a better fate. I'm not sure that Toronto did, but the goalie did, simply because he was outstanding, and he came up with one of his patented big saves against Jack Hughes. Here's Bratt, comes across the line for Hischier, finds Brown in front now to Jack Hughes. Oh, he's robbed by Stolarz. Got his glove on it, the puck deflected underneath him. He was on his belly, and we have a face-off. Upon further review, Jack would have liked to have gotten that puck up near the glove, but it wound up going off the left pad of Stolarz, who was prone, and the puck was underneath him, and the Devils stay tied at 2.
Well, it's a game of inches, right? And Markstrom's going to do that later, as you're going to describe. He gets the puck. So we're just talking an inch either way, and one went in and one didn't.
And so, as I mentioned, it is 2-2 as we head to the third period. Devils dominate in the third period. They outshoot Toronto 14-4.
Wow.
And Stolarz was standing on his head. But, as you know, in a 2-2 game, anything can happen. And one opportunity came Toronto's way, and they took the lead. And here comes Tavares racing ahead, has a man to his right, fires one on goal. It's off the glove of Markstrom and in. And it was in because, yes, it went off the glove of Markey, but it was about, waist high or so. And it was like a fastball down the middle for Matthew Nyes. He put it home for his 16th goal of the season, 3-2 Toronto in front.
Maybe more of a knuckleball.
Okay.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and those are hard to hit because
yeah.
it was flipping and flopping. But then you say, is this going to be this kind of night? Are the Devils not going to be able to get enough to win?
But as Cody Glass said, and you said at the moment, the feeling was, and you thought this wasn't going to end 3-2. No. We'll have more highlights in a moment, but let's hear from Sheldon Keefe.
Finding that, inner fortitude to dig deep there.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't got enough points out of these back-to-backs. I think it's a major area of growth for our guys, mentally and physically, to persevere and dig in these types of games. So yeah, to see that, to stay with it right to the very end in the third period, which I thought we were terrific in the third period, save for a couple of those chances that we gave up. But to have your best period in the third, stay with it through overtime, shoot out, like mentally to still do that and execute. I think it's yet another example that you're capable of doing good things despite the circumstances.
Yesterday when we talked about Markey, you talked about him being a high-volume kind of guy, wants to play all the time and thrives when he's playing a lot. You go to him on back-to-back nights. Can you talk a little bit about what sort of went into making that decision, knowing that you have two strong goaltenders here?
Yeah, something that Rogie and I talked about earlier in the week. I've lost track of what day we are of the week, but before the Florida game, after practice, we kind of talked a little bit. He kind of planted the seed, of what he was thinking as we're mapping it all out. And Marky himself has just kind of made some comments that he played back-to-back in the Olympics, and it felt good, and obviously he's played really well. I just kind of talked through some of the mental stuff that I think our team needs to get over and do well in these spots. So the fact that it's the back-to-back is one in which we don't travel, and I thought he had, with the exception of maybe the first 10 minutes yesterday, I thought it was a fairly light workload for him. We just chatted again after the game and thought it was the right way to go. And Marky, he's not going to complain anytime we ask him to go.
Sheldon, can you give us an idea what the feeling was like on the bench when the Leafs took that 3-2 lead? What was the feeling? Was there a lot of chatter? Were the guys still involved?
There was a lot of chatter. It was very encouraging. It was a lot of different people, and some of them guys who don't speak that often, but just the overriding feeling was, that we're fine. We've been going really well. We've been dominating the period. Stay with it. So that was really good to see. And then they could back it up by going out and tying the game. So, I was really happy yet again how we just stayed with it in that moment, believed in how we were playing, and found a way to put one in.
How do you think Nico has helped Gritsuk on that line? Obviously, Gritsuk, another great effort here tonight.
Yeah, what was the first part of the question, though? I thought you said something about Nico.
Yeah, how has he helped him?
How has Nico?
Nico
helped Gritsuk?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Does Arseny ask him for any advice as captain of the team, that type of thing?
Because they're not playing together. So
yeah.
That's why I don't know. Nico's always there for everyone and talking. I think with Grits specifically, he's a good player. He knows what he needs to do. A lot of our guys talk to him. He gets along very well with everyone. His English is really it's not an issue much anymore, but obviously Sarge Breland spends lots of time with him as well. But I wouldn't put anything else I wouldn't put on anything else except for the fact that Grits himself is just a good player, confident player.
Looked like another strong game from Luke tonight, and especially off the rush with that goal from Connor. Just what have you seen from him since you guys returned?
I feel like today was the best he's skated. I feel like he's finding his legs. You could see when he's skating like that how much it helps our transition game and helps us on the rush and transporting pucks and all of that. So the combination of him coming back into the lineup. What I would call a fully healthy Jack playing. Like it's really kind of lit a spark in our offense. And today I thought was Luke's best game. And we were talking that he was going to be the guy that's going to go out and lead the charge for us at 6-on-5 if we were going to get our goalie out, just because we thought he was having a real good game. So that's very encouraging.
It just seems like there's been a lot less dumping and chasing the puck and more carrying it with authority. Has that been a point of emphasis that's helped you guys succeed lately?
I think it's been. It's been a big focus for us to play quicker. I think we've talked a lot. I don't think you were here for the practices we had leading up to getting back to playing, but we had talked a bunch about. I spent a lot of time over the break and going through and how can we get our offense going? What are we missing? What's the piece we need to improve upon? And it's because I know it's not the system of how we want to play, which is confirmed by me watching all the teams in the league that are best at those things. And I have many clips of us doing the exact same things, but it's the frequency we needed to improve. So how could we do that? Play with more pace, execute better, pass the puck better. So that's been a big focus for us. I think we've done a great job of it. But as I also said, bringing Jack and Luke back into the mix make a pretty significant improvement on it as well. Jack being healthy, I've gone back to look at it. part of it is on me and on us to get going and play quicker so we can improve those areas of our game. But the games that Jack has played in, when he's had 2 fully functioning hands, we've been near the top of the league in all of those statistical categories you're talking about. So that's part of it. But it's definitely been a point of emphasis for us. Jack drives it.
Cotter spoke just before a little about the success that he feels he's had in shootouts. Just what do you see out of him that gives you that belief that he's going to go out there consistently, especially even leading it off?
I mean, obviously, it comes through last season, he just executed at such a high level. Even the ones he missed last year, he's beaten the goalie and just the puck hasn't gone in. And I would say the same about the ones he's missed this year. I think he was 1 for 3 coming into tonight. But he just always looks like he's going to score. Sometimes the puck doesn't go in. So yeah, you got great confidence in him. I would say the same on the in whether it's 4-on-4 or 3-on-3, I put him out there. 5-on-5, if I get if you could let me select who goes in on the breakaways, Kotz would be at the top of the list. So I was happy for him to execute tonight. Thank you.
Sheldon Keefe concluding his post-game news conference. Couple of thoughts there. You have to be ready when you're called on. Paul Cotter tonight only skated 7:16, 7 minutes 16 seconds of ice time. He's a 4th liner. You're not going to get an awful lot, but when called on, he improved to 40% in shootouts.
And he probably knew he was going to be called on, Matty.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you want to do. The guy that has the confidence, I saw him on the bench after he scored. He was smiling, and the guys were jumping, not jumping on him, but tapping him. But he does seem to have, that was a great little move he made. So on that shootout, one-on-one, he knows what he's doing.
And the other thing that I thought, not only the praise for Luke Hughes, you mentioned that he just looked great in his best games. I mean, he hadn't played since January, finally coming back on Saturday. So, he was just great tonight. But when Sheldon said, we got Jack with two good hands. It's a big difference, isn't it? As he comes back off the cut hand.
Oh, yeah.
Finally got a healthy Jack. He's got 2 good hands. Devils are going to be better for that.
Oh, yeah, and he's got 2 great legs. Matty, I'll watch him. The one-on-one, nobody can stop him. They can't. His ability to cut back and twist and turn, and it's amazing. I've seen a lot of good hockey players being able to skate and do a lot of that stuff, but nobody in my 50 years in the NHL does it any better than Jack.
So back to the highlights we go. We'll hear from Jacob Markstrom in just a moment. The Devils trailing 3-2 at the 13:50 mark as Matthew Nye scored his 16th goal of the season. But as you said at the moment, as Cody Glass said on our post-game interview, and as you just heard from Sheldon Keefe, there was a sense of optimism that it wasn't necessarily going to end 3-2. The Devils had been playing so well. Well, it took a little longer than maybe they would have liked, but still, they were finally able to tie it up on a great rush that started with Luke Hughes. Meyer checked by Matthews. Meyer with it. Plays it in front, nobody there for the Devils. It's cleared by Nylander all the way down, but short of icing as it's taken by Hughes. Luke with some speed through the neutral zone, across the line, gets it to Gritsuk, in deep in front, they score! It's Connor Brown! What a rush! And the Devils have tied it at 3. Brown's 11th against the team that he started his career with. Gritsuk picks up an assist. He has a 2-point night, and it starts with some speed by Luke Hughes through the neutral zone.
Yeah, Matt, that's what you diagram in practice. Very seldom does it all fall into place like that. But, Luke taking it and nobody even getting close to stopping him. Then he gets it over to Gritsuk. But now Gritsuk, remember, he scored a goal last game shooting the puck. This time he said, no, I can make this pass. And he laid it right on the stick of Brown, who was ahead of Tavares. And that was an age thing. Tavares just couldn't catch up to him. And then he buried it, and things were looking rosy for the Devils at that point, and they turned out okay too, didn't they?
Yeah, but they had to hold their breath for just a little bit late in regulation. We'll call it the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Now it's wound around. Stetcher keeps it at the right point. for Michelli with 40 to go. In front it goes, the backhand try by Robertson. Goes off the crossbar and out of play. Oh, I thought it was crossbar and out of play. It was what, Mr. Resch?
It was rib of the goalie, left goalie pad, hitting it. Then it went. It looked like it could have been the crossbar. But, I mean, a goalie going one way, which Markey was, then he has to cut back. And Robertson's not as good a goal scorer as his brother, but he can put the puck in the net. But he does it. He gets it up an inch too low. And, oh, what a save by Markey. And that's what he's been doing, Matty, finding a way to stop the biscuit at the right time.
And that was the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. If Robertson scores there, don't know that there'd be enough time
I don't think so.
to come back in this one. So it kept it 3-3. We go to overtime. It was just an incredible up and down, back and forth overtime. Chances for both sides. Toronto had a couple of shots. The Devils had 3. The goalies were good. Love that kind of overtime versus we have possession. Let's skate back to our own end, make a change. We don't like it. We'll go back out of the zone, out to center ice. We'll make a change. Boring.
Oh, you are so right, Matty. It's almost like I don't know what law or what rule they could implement, but, this was up and down, going for it. And that made it extremely exciting. And nobody scored. So let's make all teams play that way, but you can't, I know.
No, they're talking about changing some rules. Maybe you can't go back past center ice, but I don't know if that'll happen. But the Devils and Leafs gave us a show in overtime. Neither team scored. So we go to the shootout. It starts with Paul Cotter scoring, and then Markey makes a save on Willie Nylander. Jesper Bratt with a backhand scores for the Devils, and so it came down to this. Austin Matthews with a chance to extend, or Jacob Markstrom with the opportunity to pick up 2 points. Toronto captain waits for the signal. If he doesn't score, the Devils have won their 3rd straight. Has the puck in that center circle. Moves down the right wing side. Cuts between the 2 circles. Shot save! Markstrom delivers the victory. The Devils win in the shootout 4-3. And the Devils celebrate their 3rd straight victory as they move to 31-29-2, 64 points on the season. Jacob Markstrom with the win in goal as he starts on consecutive nights for the first time this season. He's played consecutive games, but not back to back. He picks up his 18th win of the year.
And he was the difference on that save, Matty. That is the save. That's the play of the game because that is what won the game at the very end.
And so the Devils win 3 straight for the first time since they beat Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver on the road, January 19th through the 23rd. They did win 3 in a row earlier in the year from the 24th of November through the 28th. And, of course, the 8-game winning streak at the start of the season. They'll try to make it 4 in a row when they take on the Rangers on Saturday. After the game, Jacob Markstrom, a happy man, spoke with the media.
Markey, you talked yesterday about just sort of building after 20, and certainly kept going here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously a big win. It's, a 2-2 game, and it's, I think we're playing good. We got a lot of zone time, and, then they got a, bad break, and they got a 2-on-1, and they score on that one, so it's huge for Brownie to strike and get a big goals for us with a couple minutes left, and then Brad and Kotz are they're great in the shootouts.
What are you seeing from this group in the last 3 games in particular that you guys have been able to sort of build a little bit of momentum here? Because you've been able to have a little bit of it, but got to ride it now.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. It's easier to come to the rink after a win than a loss, and we've been grinding. We've been playing good games, but we've been losing 2-1, 3-1, 3-0, 2-0, 1-0, and it's that's tough mentally when people start to overthink the whole goal scoring, and everyone want to score so bad that it's almost making it worse, kind of squeezing your stick a little too hard. But I think you just need a win, and then you build from there. And I think we've been doing a good job the last few games here.
For you to play on back-to-back nights, one of the things that Sheldon said is you're kind of a high-volume goaltender. You like to be in the net all the time, sort of getting that. When you're playing that back, what is that like for you? Just same old.
Same, yeah. I like to play hockey games. I want to play them all, and Jacob has been unbelievable for us all year, and I understand the dynamic that you can't play them all, but obviously I want to play as much as I can. So it's it's fun being out there.
When you're in the shootout, do you have kind of a book on some of the plays? Obviously, you probably knew what Willie might try, or did you not?
I'm not telling you. Yeah, I'm not telling you.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
It's
right.
like asking a player where he's going to shoot. I'm not telling. I'm not want them to know if I know or not.
Thanks, Marky.
I'm not giving away the game plan.
Well, yeah, a 5-hole shot by. See, what I'm looking at is Austin Matthews. You think you're going to go down and beat him 5-hole? Why would you? Have you been watching the game? The guy's been brilliant down low. You got to get it up. It's the only place they score. So, I mean, I don't think he has. You can't do that. And the first shot by who took their first shot? That was the same thing.
Nylander.
Nylander, yeah. I mean, he went low too. I'm just saying they didn't do anything. It shows to me, and what I get from Markey is the confidence and the fun they got when they started to score and are starting to feel it comes through in all kinds of ways. The Leafs, on the other hand, I think there's a cloud hanging over their heads. They know not only is this year not working out, it doesn't look good for next year. I think they're a bit of their dauber's way down, Matty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that is not good.
No, because that makes you shoot low. And the
Dauber's down, shots down.
Low, bad. Dauber up. You're going to shoot high, score. At least that's what I'm going with.
I'm going to go with it. Dauber is a Minnesota term.
Yeah.
And if your Dauber's down, man, you're just like a hangdog. It's
Exactly,
it's not
that's
good
what it is.
for those who don't know. So that'll wrap things up here. The Devils with the win in the shootout Saturday. Doesn't get any better. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Devils Rangers here at Prudential Center.
Absolutely, and the Rangers will be fired up. It'll be interesting. Will Trocheck have been traded? That's what they're all saying. I mean, they could maybe make a bigger move than the Devils, so that'll have some bearing. But overall, Matt, the place will be jammed, rocking, and let's be honest, these Devil fans, they want one thing they want more than anything else is for their team to beat the Rangers. So let's come, Matty and Thuse, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The puck's dropped, and it's going to be a dandy.
Absolutely. Devils off between now and then. Toronto will be at Madison Square Garden tomorrow. And then the two longtime rivals get it on here at The Rock on Saturday, a game you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network beginning at 2:50.